Join Marty Johnson, the holistic health practitioner and founder of Total Health Nutrition Center in Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, as he delivers these podcasts to enlighten you and give you hope that there are health solutions to conditions that seem difficult to resolve, or even better answers than a medical approach of prescribing a chemical drug, which most times is nothing more than a Band-Aid fix, rather than getting to the root cause of your problem. The mission of the Total Health podcast is to provide the education and support that will lead to transforming people's healths so they can live a much more efficient, productive, and happier life the way God intended it to be. Join him now for his latest podcast.
All right, on today's podcast, I'd like to talk about protein. And this might seem like a simple, topic, and like what are we talking about protein for? It's kind of basic, but I think you'll be surprised on the amount of people actually that are not utilizing protein enough or getting enough in for various reasons, or at least the building blocks of protein. So many people really know that protein is essential for optimum health, but most assume that they are consuming enough from the foods they're eating. And it is true, you do get good quality proteins from foods such as eggs, meat, fish, and nuts. But much of the protein that is in the foods is not converted into the body proteins or into body proteins. Protein is made up of these building blocks called amino acids. There's 21 amino acids needed by humans that can form proteins. And of these 21, 9 are essential, meaning that your body cannot synthesize these particular amino acids. They have to really come strictly from the diet. So the body can't manufacture them through different chemistry processes. So really when it comes down to proteins in themselves, what we have to look at is how well certain proteins are metabolized and utilized. So surprisingly, you might be surprised at least at some of these facts, but like egg protein actually is one of the highest bioavailable proteins. They call it a BV value. But even with eggs, 48% is actually synthesized and broken down as getting the amino acids from them. That leaving about 52% as what we call nitrogen waste, which is really either can be stored as additional calories, so your body's not really using them, and you will eventually flush them through the kidneys and so forth. Meat, poultry, and fish actually have a 32% BV or bioavailability to your body, leaving about 68% nitrogen waste. And then we get into like your whey protein powders or soy protein and other plant-based proteins. It can vary a little bit, but approximately around 18% of those are utilized, leaving 84% nitrogen waste. So kind of surprising and a little more eye-opening to the fact that we have to be pretty cognizant of getting in proper protein amounts and quality proteins to make sure that we're getting enough for our bodies. When people are deficient in protein, it really can play out as maybe nagging injuries that won't heal as well. Things that maybe through sports or even just, doing hard work, and you get these nagging injuries that aren't healing as well. Brittle bones, nails, hair, the health of all of those, that can even take place more noticeably in menopausal women, also in more elderly people as we go through our lives. Really, it can also show up. Protein deficiencies can show up as just more frequent colds, even in children as well as adults. meaning immune deficiencies overall. So low-level protein deficiency or low-level protein issues often get overlooked by medical doctors and often cannot really be, or they're not really caught early enough just by blood work. So in other words, by the time it shows up with blood work, there could be a deficiency going on for quite a while. Some of the blood markers that maybe it would be looked at for protein would be on a CBC or a blood panel would be total protein, albumin, or albumin globulin ratio. So it'll a lot of times show up as AG ratio. And albumin and globulins are two different proteins that are made up in the liver. They're synthesized in the liver. And so those can be some blood markers that maybe are going to be looked at. But the key is, which I preach a lot, is that we want to look at more preventative health and optimal health rather than waiting till something shows up on blood work where it's already a major issue going on for quite a while. So really, even inefficiency or not getting enough protein actually can lead to hormones that are more imbalanced due to lower production in hormones, because the hormones actually are very much made up of protein molecules like amino acid molecules, as well as cholesterol is one of the building blocks to hormones as well. So these are things that really have to be looked at when it comes to when we have different health things going on. We want to even look at the basic things like protein utilization, I guess, is really the gist of this particular podcast, or what I wanted to get across in that respect. So we might ask ourselves, okay, so far we've addressed the fact that different foods that we eat, we're only utilizing a certain percentage of that food for protein sources. What other factors could be going on that could hinder our protein utilization? Well, one of the big ones that we see is actually reduced digestion capability. If your digestive system becomes less efficient due to exposure to toxins from processed foods over time, over the years, maybe stress, aging in general, or antacid use, all of these things can hinder the efficiency of how you're breaking down your foods and your proteins. And that can really lead to an overall deficiency, even though you're eating enough. So like I always tell people, you've heard the saying, you are what you eat, which is totally fine. But I like to say you really are what you digest. So if your digestion system is inefficient, you could actually be eating very good diet, good foods, and not be utilizing enough and still have deficiencies. So these are all things to consider. So really, with the essential amino acids, they're needed from protein sources, and are really the fundamental building blocks necessary for practically every system within the body. So if you are deficient in even one of these amino acids, your body simply will not function optimally, because your body simply cannot make them. Like we had mentioned, those 9 essential amino acids your body cannot make. So even having one imbalanced amino acid can play a big role in your overall health, even your organ health in general. So really, in the last 30 years of working with people in clinical nutrition, I've observed when people get the correct levels of these amino acids in their systems, their excessive cravings for food starts to settle down. So I kind of discovered this even more recently in my practice, where some people I was working with in the dieting area had observed that when we utilize certain products that have a higher level of protein utilization or bioavailability, that their overall hunger cravings just start to settle out. In other words, their body is kind of telling them that, okay, I'm getting what I need and I don't need to be craving just food in general. Obviously, you want to be eating, but not overeating. So that's kind of what I'm getting at. And also, we notice that people's blood sugar tends to be more balanced, which can play out as having more steady, less up and downs in your energy throughout the day, or better mental clarity due to the blood sugar being more balanced. Really, one of the big factors that I see is people with chronic brittle nails or nails that are tearing easily. A lot of times you'd think, okay, well, it's a calcium issue or a mineral deficiency, which it could be, but protein is a major player in the overall health or the makeup of your hair, your nails, your skin. It's really kind of like the collagen matrix, or the glue that holds it all together, or the building blocks, I should say, that really hold it all together. So when people start utilizing and getting enough protein and utilizing it properly, their hair, their nails, their skin tend to get healthier and stronger and brighter, more vibrant. And also their muscle tone tends to improve. I get people that jokingly, but deep down inside, they're frustrated that, yeah, when I wave my arm, or when I wave my hand to someone, my arm keeps waving. Basically they're getting more flabby, in the tricep area, and they notice that things just aren't as tight. But that tone and flabbiness can improve, and the metabolism improves when you have more muscle density on your body, of course, and that's a huge factor. And overall energy in general can go up, basically just due to having those proper amino acids and the proper body chemistry balance. So really, when it comes down to helping people with this issue, I wish I could just say, all right, well, do this one thing and this will be the miracle for you. But what we have observed really is that sufficient protein utilization can be different for each person, meaning that different people can have different things going on with their digestion, because the digestion is quite dynamic. I mean, it's really this north to south process that starts in the mouth, and we need to make sure that the person's stomach juices are sufficiently breaking down proteins, and then there's a whole other dynamic of enzymes and digestive processes that go on in the small intestine. And I have some podcasts on our website that talk about digestion more in detail, but this is kind of a review. So we really have to find out what each individual might need to in the area of support with their digestion, including even leaky gut, which is an issue where the intestinal wall is becoming more permeable and allowing things to get into the bloodstream that weren't meant to, which can hinder a person's health and how well they're able to, recover from different imbalances and so forth. Also, over time, we've really looked at and researched different products that can have a more significant role for each individual as we discover their body chemistry and their imbalances, looking for the right therapeutic nutrients to feed the body. In addition to working with the diet, sometimes we want to speed things up by finding the right exact therapeutic nutrient that can help with the protein utilization or improve the digestive system, or maybe even improve a specific organ that might be under functioning. So these are all areas that need to be considered, that we do work with in our office. If there's anything that we can answer for you that might come out of this blog that has questions in your mind, please give us a call. Our number at the office here is 262-251-2929, or you can go to our website, Total Health Inc., totalhealthinc.com. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us today on the Total Health Podcast. If you'd like more information about how Total Health can transform your health, check them out. They would love to set up a free consultation with you over the phone. Call them at 262-251-2929 to make that appointment. Otherwise, you can check them out on the web at www.totalhealthinc.com.